In order to capture and manage the right user data, it is essential to define the right user schema in User 360. A unified schema can be defined in the Users section of the Engage module to capture the same set of values for all users. This data can later be filtered and segmented to target different subsections of users. The schema is defined using various user properties from which we can select a set of properties to be made available on the UI. The order of these properties in the table can also be rearranged so that we get to look at the data most relevant for our business. User properties are classified as system properties and custom properties. System properties are available for every bot created on the Yellow AI platform and includes the commonly used properties to capture the most important details of users. These include first name, last name, user ID, which are string data types. Properties like email and phone number have their own data types. We can use tags, which is a list data type, to classify users into multiple categories. Multiple users can be tagged under the same category, which can later be used to segment your users. We can also create custom properties to hold other business-specific data. Various data types are supported for creating these properties. These include string, list, email, number, phone, URL, date, time, and Boolean. We can add more properties to the schema at a later stage as well. Once the user schema is defined, we can add users to the schema. This can be done by clicking on Add Users and specifying for one or more user properties. Users can also be added in bulk using a CSV file or from the customer CRM by calling the platform API or through data captured during conversations. Details of users can be edited manually or updated at a later stage from other sources. We can add multiple users to the User 360 platform through a CSV file import. The file is initially validated by the platform to check if the specified columns match the user properties available in the schema. At the time of import, a common tag value can be specified which will tag all the users available in the CSV file. This can be useful to create segments for each file that is imported into the platform. Each record in the file will also undergo a data type validation before being added to the platform. Records failing this validation will be skipped. The user ID column can also be populated with values in the CSV. User ID will be automatically generated by the platform for those records not having this value. After selecting the bot in the platform and choosing the environment to work on, head over to the Engage section and click on User 360. Click on User Properties to choose from one or more system properties that are made available to define your user schema. The selected properties are listed on the right, and these can be rearranged so that the most important data is always visible. The data types of the system properties are listed alongside for reference. A custom property can also be created to hold other kinds of business data not covered by any of the system properties. Click on Custom Property to create a new property. You can choose between the available data types. Give a suitable property name and click on Save. The custom property will be created, which can be later on added to the list of visible properties. The schema is now redefined. After the user schema is defined, we can now add users to this table by clicking on Add User button. Click on Single User to enter all the required details for the user. Columns for which you do not have values can be left blank. The user has been added to the table. Note that the user ID property will be automatically filled by the platform if not specified. The user data can also be edited at a later stage by clicking on the Edit User button. Users can also be imported into the platform in bulk using a CSV file. The columns in the CSV file should match the user properties available in the user schema. Additional custom properties can also be added in this CSV file. Click on Add User and click on Import Users. You can add a CSV file of up to 30 megabytes in size. Once the file is uploaded successfully, we can also add a common tag to classify the set of users in the file under a category. This tag value can be used to create a segment of these users at a later stage. Click on the Input button. The import request will be queued for processing. Each user record is validated for its data type, and records failing the user validation will be skipped during the import. These details can be checked in the user logs. The user ID is automatically populated for each user record if not specified. Columns without any data will be left blank. The users table will be updated after the import operation is successfully complete. In User 360, we can segment our audiences, which enables us to create targeted campaigns and engage in targeted conversations. A segment is a group of users defined using conditions as filters based on their property values. It can be created before or during a campaign launch. Selecting a segment as your target audience during a campaign launch ensures that your campaigns always reach the right sets of users. Details of segments, including their names and filter criteria, can always be edited at a later stage, and this will automatically recapture the users matching the updated filter criteria. A group of users can also be manually removed from segments post-creation. Other options include downloading segment user data, archiving, unarchiving, and deletion of existing segments. When creating a segment, we can use any of the available user properties to filter the users and add the right set of users by creating a condition. On selecting a particular user property, we can choose from a list of conditional operators relevant for that property and specify matching values wherever applicable. A combination of such conditions can be added within a condition set. This will match only those users whose property values match all the conditions specified. Alternatively, multiple such conditions can be added in more than one condition set. This will match users whose property values match the conditions specified in one of the condition sets. A combination of conditions and condition sets can be set up to specify a versatile and elaborate filtering criteria. Effectively, these segments can be created for every key group of users that we would like to send a message to. For example, create a segment to match users who have visited your pricing page or users who are nearing their subscription renewal date. The user data can be exported from the platform in a CSV format using the download option. This feature is applicable to download all users in the schema or users belonging to a particular segment. The entire set of users can be removed from the schema by clicking on Delete All User Data. Alternatively, users in a particular segment can be deleted. We can also select one of more user records and delete them. The user schema contains a system property called user ID, which is used to uniquely identify a user. Setting a value for this property helps the bot recognize a user across multiple channels. The platform automatically generated a unique value for this property if it is not specified. However, it is recommended to specify a value to ensure uniformity in identifying users. To specify a user ID for a user, we can reuse existing properties like phone number or email, which are unique in nature. Uniquely identifying a user with the help of the user ID property helps us create personalized engagements with a user across multiple touchpoints or channels. It also becomes a lot easier to collate user data coming in at different points of time through different channels and enrich the existing profile of the identified user in the platform. The user ID can be set when adding or editing a user record in the UI, importing a set of users through a CSV, passing the data through an API call, or when capturing user data during their conversation with the bot. In the users table, we have now added a couple of users whose tag value is Academy. There are a couple of other users whose details have been edited and their email ID is not currently set. Let's try to create a few segments out of this data now. Click on the Add Segment button and give the segment a name. Now we can choose any of the user properties to be used as a filter within a condition. Here, we are trying to create a segment of users classified under the Academy tag. Click on the Add button to create the segment. Multiple conditions can be added within a condition set or in multiple condition sets. Let us create a segment now which includes only those Academy users whose email is not set. In this segment, we are going to specify two conditions within the same condition set to ensure both conditions are satisfied. Since we have added two conditions in the same condition set, both these conditions should be satisfied for users before adding them to the segment. Click on the Add button. There are no user records matching the condition set and the segment is empty. Let us add one of these users whose email is not set in the Academy tag. This automatically adds the edited user to the segment because the record satisfies all the conditions for the segment. Let us create another broader segment where we want to include either Academy users or those whose email is not set. Since we have added two conditions in different condition sets, only one of these conditions should be satisfied for users before adding them to the segment. Click on the Add button and the users satisfying either condition are added to the segment. We can create complex conditions such based on one or more of the available user properties. Note that on selecting a particular user property, the relational operator's available changes to match the context of the property. Users can be exported by clicking on the Actions button and clicking on Download all user data. This will generate a log under User Log section where you can look at the status of the download action. When the status changes to completed, you can click on the Download Log button. This will download a CSV file which contains the entire set of users from the Users table. Note that this download log will contain all the user properties, and user properties which are not mentioned for the users will be left blank. Instead of downloading the entire set of users, a segment of users can also be downloaded by clicking on Actions and now clicking on Download Segment User Data. This will generate another log and you can now click on this Download Log button. And this will ensure that only the users belonging to that segment are exported. For a particular segment, the other options include editing a segment to edit multiple condition sets after it's created. You can also archive the segment so that it's not used at a later stage. You can download or delete segment user data. Click on Delete User against a particular user record to delete it. Select one or more users from the Users table or a segment and click on Delete Users to delete them in bulk. The entire set of users can also be deleted by clicking on Actions and selecting Delete all user data. We can refer to different types of user logs in the User 360 module to audit different user actions. Click on User Logs. The list can be filtered by the type of log. The different kinds of logs include CSV imports, bulk user download, bulk user delete, and migration data. Bulk user download logs gives the list of users exported. The CSV import log gives the status of users who are imported using a CSV file. A date range can also be used to filter the list. Click on Download Log. This generates a CSV file which summarizes the number of users who were successfully added to User 360, the number of users ignored during import, and the number of users merged with existing user records. The table below the summary highlights the details of users who were not imported. The first column gives the bot ID associated with the import. The second column mentions the user data specified in the source CSV file. The third column gives the error details of users who were not imported. The error can be due to a property value that was incompatible with the data type of the property. The fourth column specifies the line number of the erroneous record in the source CSV.